Founded in the early years of the 14th century, 36 sultans ruled the Ottoman Empire from 1300 to 1922. But rule of Sultan Muhammad II represented the height of their achievements. When Murad II became the Sultan in 1421, he inherited a strong and united empire. Born 8 years after his father became Sultan, Muhammad II was considered far too weak and feeble. He grew up in the royal palace and received a good care. He was taught by some of the best teachers of the time, but had little contact with the outside world. He also became interested in hunting, military strategy, and fluent in 5 languages. In 1451, Sultan Murad II died. He was succeeded by Muhammad II. Not even 20 at the time, he rose to the challenge and reformed the Ottoman political system. His courage, judgment, and ability reassured everyone. For the next 30 years, he created a unique place for himself in global history. Soon after becoming ruler, he initiated diplomatic missions both in the East and the West. He signed peace treaties with his rivals and turned his full attention to domestic affairs. Other sultans had attempted to capture the ancient city of Constantinople, but they failed. After the Prophet of Islam had predicted that his followers would one day secure this city, the Arabs had been knocking on its doors without much success. Muawiyah was one of the first to send an expedition. Abu Ayyub al-Ansari died fighting against the Byzantines. He was buried on the outskirts of the city. Other attempts to secure the city also failed. Sultan Muhammad II now turned his attention to this city. He did so for 2 reasons. Liberation of the city would strengthen his position as the ruler. Secondly, it would earn him a unique place in global history. Named after a Roman emperor, their capital was transferred from Rome to this city, bridging the East and the West. But the Sultan was not in a hush. Launching a hasty attack and being forced to retreat was not an option. He was convinced that he could capture the city and devised a plan and executed it with great care. He recruited military experts and engineers from Hungary and paid them well. The engineers worked round the clock. They designed cannonballs and delivery systems. The stone balls would be fired at the city's walls to enable the Ottoman army to enter. The Sultan gathered his 150,000-strong army. This included 12,000 elite infantry. In 1453, he marched towards Constantinople. Only 21 at the time, his arrival sent shockwaves throughout the city. The Byzantine emperor ordered the city walls to be reinforced, but the Sultan patiently waited outside the city walls and laid siege in April 1453. For the next month, the Ottomans pounded the city's walls from the land and sea. This caused serious damage to its walls. Gaps began to appear, although not large enough to enable them to enter. With limited supplies and only 8,000 soldiers, the Byzantine ruler fought back, but he was fighting a losing battle. No other European nations came to his help. If they had, the Sultan would have been unable to take the city. After weeks of fighting, the Ottomans failed to make progress. The Byzantines fought back. A swift and ingenious solution was required. The Ottoman ships were unable to break the chain laid across the Golden Horn. The Sultan now showed his military genius. He ordered his vessels to be transferred from the Bosphorus into the Golden Horn by land. His generals considered this to be impossible. He disagreed and ordered his army to build a road. Wooden planks were laid from one end of the Bosphorus leading to the Golden Horn. Animal fat was applied to grease the planks. This enabled the vessels to sail overland and into the Golden Horn during the night. Arriving close to the city's northern walls, the Ottoman army took the Byzantines by surprise. From the sea, the vessels opened fire from the north, whilst the troops launched cannonballs from the west. Soon the city's walls were smashed to pieces. The Sultan's infantry finally defeated the Byzantines. The Ottomans, led by the Sultan, marched into the historic city. Hereon the Sultan became known as the Conqueror. He changed its name to Istanbul. More than 800 years old prophecy was fulfilled on 29 May 1453. The Sultan went straight to the Hagia Sophia and offered prayers there. But he treated its population with respect and courtesy. Christians and Jews were allowed to stay with their wealth and properties. He even crowned the Greek patriarch with his own hands and began to rebuild the city's institutions. His sense of justice, equality, and tolerance surprised the city's population. He retained all the city's historic institutions and refurbished all the damaged buildings. But he added 2 minarets to the Hagia Sophia, symbolizing Ottoman victory over the Byzantines. The Sultan was only 21 when he achieved this remarkable victory. During the next 28 years of his rule, he rebuilt and repopulated the entire city. He transformed Istanbul into one of the world's most beautiful and attractive cities, building mosques, schools, colleges across the Ottoman Empire. He was an undisputed leader of the Muslim world, and the also Ottomans became the superpower of the time. His large army was feared, and his vessels controlled of the seas, being the world's most powerful navy. After capturing Greece and going as far as Italy, the Sultan became one of Europe's most powerful leaders. His 30-year rule was a remarkable period, but he became famous as Conqueror of Istanbul. He died at the age of 49 and was the first Sultan to be buried in Istanbul. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more, please like and subscribe.